Allie. Join me as I show you how to make this sleigh bracelet. Perfect for the holidays, or you can switch up the colors that it is seasonal all year round as well. Flopping the red maybe for some black beads in the middle. If you do need a list of the materials used, go below the video in the description. We'll list everything out and a link to get back to our website where you can gather up your supplies. Once you have everything ready, gather up your supplies on your bead on it board and let's get ready to get started. All right, it's that most wonderful time of the year as some of the projects start to appear in holiday colors. So you can see my sample piece here. It looks lovely with the Aztec gold and purple. We're going to be using our holiday colors, working with quad bows and some tubelet beads, as well as 2 colors of 15 O's and a 2mm bicone. I have a Potomac's Infinite clasp here that I will put a cabochon into as I'm working for a little break. And the first thing we're going to do is attach one side of our clasp. I'm using a size 8 dragon thread needle with size 10, or dragon thread with size 10 needles. And I'm using a green color. And the first thing I'm actually going to do is put on the end of my clasp. I have 2 needles, one on each end of about 5 feet of beading thread. From here, I'm going to pick 1, 2, 3 of my cream color, followed by 1, 2, 3 of my cream color. Let that kind of fall down towards the end. Now we're going to start a little bit of our pattern. So I'm going to use 1 cream, followed by 1 of my tubelet, followed by 1 cream. I'm going to take the needle that's coming from the right to the left through, and then grab the needle that's coming from the left to the right, and we are crisscrossing through that bead, as well as the 15 O's on the side. Making sure that that stays to the middle of the thread, so I'm kind of doing my wingspan out here. I want to make sure, again, that it just kind of sits right there. I'm going to go back now and reinforce, going back through the clasp, back through the seed beads here, along the side. That's 2 times through the clasp. This project, we're not coming back up the project at all, so we want to make sure to go ahead and reinforce it like we're doing here. 1 more time through all 4 of those seed beads on one side, through all 4 on the other side. And as we come out of those, we're going to get ready for our connection. All right. So there we have all of these beads kind of sitting there. My thread is currently coming out one of those 15s. I want to make sure that I'm coming out 1 15 on the opposite side as well. All right, so now here is the start to our pattern. Any other clasp you can certainly put on as well. We are going to put on 1 of our red beads, 1 of our green beads, 1 of our red beads. Red, green, red. So we have the same pattern on the right needle as we do on the left needle. From here, we're going to switch to our cream color, 1 tubelet, cream color. You'll notice I only picked this up with the needle that was on the right. I'm going to let this slide down onto the project a little bit. And then the needle that's on the left is going to crisscross back through those beads as well. So the red 15 O's as well as the bicone beads and on both the right and the left needle do not have any thread crisscrossing through. It's the tubelet bead that crisscrosses through. And that right there is our connection point. From here, we're going to go in and start to add in our QuadBow beads. So after the tubelet, we have that 15 O that our thread is currently coming out of. You're going to grab your first QuadBow bead, and we are going to sew through hole number 1 towards the outside. This is with the right needle. On the outer edge here, I'm going to pick up 1 of my 15s in the red, 1 2mm, 1 15, and I'm going to sew back toward the middle. So I'm going from hole number 1 to hole number 2. QuadBows have 4 holes, so we're going to do both this same thing on the right and on the left. I'm going to have my QuadBows facing in towards the interior. You can go either way. I'll show you on the sample piece. And then, oops, Getting a little excited there. I was putting crystals on. Let's take those off. It should just be the QuadBow. I apologize for that. All right. So through QuadBow hole number 1 from the interior towards the exterior to match the opposite side, just like that. And then your seed bead bicone and through the QuadBow. So at this point, our thread and needle is coming out in the interior of this QuadBow. And what we're going to do is we are going to make another section of our tubelet. This time when we're going to make this section of the tubelet, we are going to use 2, and I repeat 2, 1 and 2 of our cream 15s, then our tubelet, then our 2 cream 15s. Slide that on. Every time you're going through the tubelets and the 15s in the cream color, we are going through those in the opposite direction as well, crisscrossing through. When we crisscross and bring the thread through those, it's going to pop down right in the middle here of our QuadBow. The needle that's on the right is going to go into the right, out the QuadBow, and out through the 15-0 seed bead in red. You're going to grab another 2mm bead, another red 15, and through the third hole of the QuadBow. On the other side, we're doing the exact same thing. So our thread and needle are coming out of the tubelet bead and the 15s. We're going through the QuadBow, through the 15 on the opposite side, out to the exterior, grab another bicone, another 15, in through hole number 3. And you want to make sure anytime you're using beads with multiple holes, and especially, if they're coated like this, you want to make sure before you start that all 4 holes are free. Luckily with this one, we don't have to come back too much, so you don't want it to have that much to take out. All right, the next line of our tubelet beads is going to be the same thing as the last one. So onto the right needle, 1 and 2 15s, followed by a tubelet, followed by 2 15s, and through to the opposite side. When going through to the opposite side, also going through the 15 after you go through that third hole of your QuadBow. Needle that's on the left is going to trace that. So I'm going the opposite direction through those cream 15s and through the tubelet bead, through the cream 15s on the opposite side, and out through hole number 3. When you come out through hole number 3, also go through that 15 on this side. And see how we're getting right there, those almost like sleigh tracks. 2mm, oops, followed by your 15-0 into the 4th and final hole of the QuadBow. This one just gets 1 seed bead on each side of our tubelet, off to the other side. Here on this right side, we are doing a 15 after our 2mm and down and straight across and through and out through the 15. Since the 15 wasn't in place yet for the opposite side, we need to take our thread and needle that's on the opposite side there that we just completed and come on out through that 15. Now we're going to make a jump from one unit to the other. To make that jump, there's 2 ways. I'm going to show you one way, and then I'm going to sew backwards to show you the next way. So one way is from here that you're just going to go in and you're going to add a 2mm basically bead on each side along with a 15. And then you're going to go right into your next QuadBow on the exterior. Likely to jump from one to the other, you're going to need 2 15s, a 2mm, 2 15s, and then into the QuadBow. What I'm going to do instead is backtrack. So I'm backtracking on the right-hand side, back through my 15 and my QuadBow, coming out towards the interior there. Same thing on the other side, backtracking through the 15 and the QuadBow, making sure that my thread and needle is still through the 15s on the opposite side of the tubelet. Once you're here, this is your connection point. Our connection point is going to look similar to our start, when we go in and almost do a right angle weave unit, but because you're using 2 needles, it doesn't feel like it. So I've done a couple more of the units just to show you, but when you're coming out of the last one here, what you're going to do is add a 2mm bicone on both the right and the left. Add the tubelet with the 15s on one of the needles and then crisscross through that 15 tubelet combo. Give a nice tight pull. Pick up your beads, and there you go. I also wanted to show you how I'm basically beading a little bit faster. Since it's slower to bead with your left hand generally, or right hand if you're left-handed, I usually will go like this. So I have my right needle in my hand. I pull nice and tight, getting going. I have my beads along the side, and then I'm going to go in and start the other side. So I'll go into the second hole here because I know that's where I should be. Coming out there, I do my 15, 2mm 15 in through the next hole. So I basically do the whole unit one needle at a time, and then I go back and finish with the other needle. Go in here and go from the second to the third hole, add my 15s with my crystal, go to that final hole, add my 115, 1 tubelet, 115, and then push that needle down into my bead on it board. Now I pick up the opposite one, and I'm basically just filling in the blanks. Go into hole number 1 on that, hole number 1 on that second one of the quad bows. When I'm there, I need to grab out a couple more of my bicones. Add a 15 and a bicone. The 15 to connect to is already there, so I sew through that 15. That's already there. Straight across through my tubelet and my 15s, straight across to the other side of the quad bow. And it would have been good if I picked up the correct needle to do so. I'm going to take that out here. It needs to go on there anyway. All right, here I'm now on the correct one. 15, 2mm, through the 15, straight across, through the 15, tubelet 15, straight across to the other side. And sometimes if you can, it's great to come out through that 15. If not, just take your needle and thread through the 15, add the 2mm down through the 15 that's already there. Again, we're just filling in the blanks, straight across, out through the 15 that's already there on the outside. Add my 2 and my 15. Come on back down to the middle. My tubelet's already there, so I'm going to go in and add my 15 tubelet, 15, and crisscross here. Add your 15 or your 2mm on each side, and then start with your next version here. Now, I wanted to explain that you can do this inside to outside. So you can have the quad bows that they're going different directions and kind of looking almost like a swirl. To do so, you're changing your 15 O's up. That the first one is going to have a 15 and the quad bows face towards the outside. The next two have no 15s, or you can do 2 15s if you want here, and then 1 15 on the interior. So you're doing the opposite if you want to have it snake either way. Once you're done with your quad bow units here, you're going to put on your clasp. I'm coming out of my last one of my tubelet 15 combos. I had a 2mm and a tubelet 15 combo here. On the opposite side of the needle, I'm going to add another one of my 2. Crisscross through, just like we're normally doing, almost as if we are going to go in and create our next unit. Come out of that 15 there. And now we're going to add 1, 2, 3 beads. Make sure that your clasp is sitting so that the top is facing up. We're going to sew into that nice soldered loop of the infinite clasp here. Add 1, 2, 3 more beads and come back down through that 15 tubelet 15 combo. Opposite side, we're going to reinforce. So we're going back through all of those 15s, through the clasp, through the 15s. Give a nice tight pull. to make sure you see no extra thread remaining. And then go back through one more time. If it's getting tight around the 15, you can skip the 15, go through the tubelet, or you can just take both thread ends and tie them off. I'm going to use some E6000 glue, and we'll glue our 10mm cabochon into our infinite clasp. You can also get them from us, that we do that for you. So if you know the specific way you do it, we do it made to order for you, that you can get your clasp done by us, and it'll arrive with the cap already in. Once you have that all completed and tied off, because it's right there next to the green bead, I'm not going to worry about it too much. Just going to burn off my thread edges. And that completes my beautiful bracelet. Again, you can do this with holiday colors. You can do it with more of those royal colors in that purple and gold, or you could even do it with blue and variegated colors in the middle as well. Thanks so much for joining me, and make sure to post your pictures of your sleigh bracelet in our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making. Whether or not you do the quad bows facing in or facing in and out alternative, I can't wait to see all those different color combinations. Remember, if you haven't yet, hit subscribe and turn on your notifications so you get told when there's new videos so you don't miss anything from us here at Potomac Beads. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more inspirational designs.